Hello, welcome to the Cage Conversations podcast, or the CC podcast for short. I know what you might be thinking. Oh no, another man starting a podcast. And you know what? That is fair. But trust me, I have no serious content creation goals. This is something that I'm doing for my girlfriend. She likes watching me play video games, even though I suck at them. She also likes listening to the voice memos I send her about my thoughts throughout the day. Um, this project really is just for one person, but the reason these aren't private and just for her is because, you never know what happens on YouTube and what the algorithm will push and blah, blah, blah. So, maybe I'll get some ad revenue out of it. It's hard times. Why not see if you can start a little side hustle? But at the end of the day, I do have a full-time job, so the goal is to make this as low budget and easy to produce as possible. No script, no editing, no none of that. But at the end of the day, hope you enjoy this video. More importantly, I hope my girlfriend enjoys it. And with that said, let's get into it. Today I'm talking over gameplay of me playing Epic Mickey. Got it free on PlayStation subscription, so decided to try it out. I remember when this game came out, I saw ads for it as a kid. I was like, "Oh, this seems very interesting." It's like Mickey Mouse but edgy. It was back in those days, like the 2010s, when everything was edgy and, in hindsight, kind of dumb. Never did get to play it though. So when I saw I could play it for free, I was like, "Hey, why not?" And, in the hour or so that I spent trying out the game, I realized I do not like this game. I think the controls are a little stiff and it just seems very basic, which I mean, at the end of the day, clearly a game made for children. So the idea that like the gameplay and everything is basic probably shouldn't be that confused about. But at the end of the day, just wasn't for me. But with that said, I'll go ahead and get started with the actual topic. So I want to talk about online friendships. People want to believe that those are a thing, and I think that there is no such thing as online friendships. I think it is a scam and it is a lie that is being peddled to us by the elites, and there's an incentive for that lie. So first of all, in terms of the incentives, before we even get into why online friendships aren't even real, let's get into the reasons why we are being told that they are real. First of all, billionaires obviously want us to believe in online friendships because, surprise, surprise, online friendships keep us online. And when you're online, you're able to have your data collected and you're able to be advertised to. You are able to be profited off of, essentially, the more you are online. So the fact that you believe that you have an online friend, which makes you want to be online more, helps the people in charge. It helps people over in Silicon Valley profit off of you. So there's that. And then also there's the politician class. I would say that the people in Washington also benefit from you believing in the idea of online friends. Um, because online friends are because online friends aren't real friends, you're not able to build community with them. Because you're not able to have a community, you're not able to organize. You're not able to protest. You're not able to revolt. Those things all come from communities. And if you're lacking community, then as long as there's as long as there is a complete like blank or a a debt or destitute or a just a dearth of communities in our country, then the politicians are safe and they don't have to be scared of us revolting. And so, best way to do that, best way to keep communities from forming, keep people from having friends. And they people to keep people from having friends, make them believe in online friends. So that's the reason why they want us to believe in online friends. But at the end of the day, it is a lie that the elites are trying to sell to us. There's no such thing as an online friend. There's no such thing as a virtual friend. This is something that they're trying to peddle to you in order to control you. There are multiple reasons that online friends are so vastly inferior to real friends that they cannot even be considered to be in the same realm of possibility of like even the same category, right? So, first of all, um just looking at what a friend is, right? And I think a good comparison, a good analogy, right, is if you work, right? If you have a job and you have coworkers, right? There are people that you might get along with at your job. Ideally, there are people that you get along with at your job, but are they your friends? I would say at the end of the day, the people that you work with, if you can't or don't feel comfortable speaking to them about anything other than work related issues, then they are not your friend. Similarly, you I would not go to r slash Tekken or whatever and start asking the people that I speak to there about mortgages or whatever or anything outside of Tekken. Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't speak to people in these online communities about anything other than what these online communities are about. So the same way your coworkers that you don't speak to about anything else other than work are nothing more than just your acquaintances, your online friends, your these people inside of these online communities are nothing more than acquaintances at best because you literally are confined to what you can speak to them about. And because of that, they are not your friends. They literally are not your friends. The next thing is I would say trust, right? I think that in order to consider somebody a friend, you have to trust them. And the issue is that, obviously with in-person friends, there's varying levels of trust that you may have with your friends depending on everything else that's going on. But at the end of the day, right, is someone your friend if you don't trust them enough to give them your phone number so that they can contact you, or to give them your address so they can come over and hang out. If you don't trust them enough, I would hesitate to say that you're friends with that person. And I mean, I think we can all agree that giving random people your phone number and address online is insane. And people don't do that. And there's a reason people don't do that because these people are not your friends. These people are not your friends. So again, we do not trust the people that we speak to online, which is good. Honestly, it's a good thing we don't trust them. Most of them are bots, and the people that aren't bots are freaks. So at the end of the day, you would be right not to trust them. But due to the lack of trust, it is difficult to categorize them as a friend. And then just, rapid firing some new ones, some like remainder ones. Uh living life, being friends is about doing things together, right? At the end of the day, if you have a friend that all you guys do is like talk through like text or calls or whatever, but you guys don't actually ever hang out, you guys don't ever actually like do things together, are you friends? Same thing with whatever person you guys only speak to each other only in Discord or whatever. Is that your friend? Are you guys like actually friends if you guys like only just like talk to each other? Because I mean, you can at this point you can talk to a chat bot and you could be convinced that it's the same person, that's a real person. But you can't get a beer with a chat bot. You can't watch a movie with a chat bot. You can't do those kinds of things with a chat bot. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, same thing with your people that you go to work with. If they're not willing to hang out with you outside of work hours, they're not your friend. So, there's that. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys, there needs to be something outside of just conversation to make you all to like fit into the category of friends, right? And online friends don't have that. And then there's also the fact that online friends, they online friends, they aren't able to, support and grow with you, right? You need to have a person for that. And at the end of the day, if you have a situation where people are, or you're struggling, or you have an accomplishment in your life, you want to be able to talk to somebody about that in person. I mean, there's a reason why people prefer not to have long distance relationships or anything of that nature. And it's because people inherently know that having a relationship that you guys aren't able to be together is inherently inferior, inherently. And the fact that we try to delude ourselves into thinking that that's not the case with actual friendships is ridiculous. Like friendships and romantic relationships are, I mean, they require a lot of the same amount of work probably to maintain properly. And if you are not willing to be in a romantic relationship with someone purely online, which you shouldn't, um, you should also not be willing to be in a completely online friendship with someone. Um, at the end of the day, someone that says, I have a friend, but they're only online is just as lame to me as someone that says, I'm not a virgin, I've masturbated. It's like, you might still be getting the dopamine hit, but that is absolutely not the same thing. So, I think that that is, an apt analogy. Now, I don't necessarily think that because I don't think that people should necessarily be shamed for their inability to actually make friends, right? I think, like I said, the elites want us to have online friends, So they've made it easy to do that. It is the easy option. It is the easy choice. They've gotten rid of third spaces. It's difficult to, they've made it more difficult and expensive to meet people outside of an online space. And this is the reason why. Because they want you to have online friends, and they want to make it difficult for you to make real friends, and they want to lie to you by saying that online friends are somehow just as good or just as valuable when they're absolutely not as valuable. I would say they're actually in fact worthless. So what's the solution, right? I would say that first of all, I think we should reevaluate what exactly we're using online functionality for, right? What exactly are we trying to do online, right? So when I go online, and I go to forums and things like that, I go there to research or whatever, so I can see what other people say about a certain topic, but I don't go there to answer on my own about a certain topic, or to meet people or talk to them or get their perspective on different opinions or anything like that. No, I go there like, oh, okay, so this is what people thought about this. All right, well, that's interesting. And then I leave, and that's the end of it. I think if we are trying to socialize with strangers online, we need to evaluate why exactly it is we're trying to do that, you know? At the end of the day, I mean, you look at it and you say, it's different. It's one thing to use these online features, Discord, Twitter, blah, 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 Instagram, in order to stay in contact with the people that you already know, right? That is one thing. And I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? It's another thing to be trying to, or to actually, in fact, like, meet people that you do not know, and try to create a friendship with them online. I think that's the thing where it's like there's clearly something wrong with you, and there's clearly something missing in your life if you're doing this. Because why don't you have your own friends in real life that you can speak to? That's the thing, right? Um, I mean, I think exception I would make, I guess, would be people that their job is being online. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to socialize with other people who have that same job, like streamers, reaching out to streamers and becoming friends and that kind of thing, I guess. But, um, most of us don't do that. So at the end of the day, what are you doing? What are you doing when you are trying to DM somebody and like talk to them more about, a- and like become friends with someone that you literally like do not know? Because it just displays a fundamental lack of socialization inside of your life. And, like I said, I don't want to shame people for necessarily having that lack, because that's what our society is built to do, is to create that lack within you. But you do have an obligation to try and rise above it, right? Again, going back to the like sex example, I mean, if you're a person that wants sex but is not getting it, and instead of like doing anything about it, you just goon all day, then like there's something wrong with you. Like you need to go out there and do the work and stop gooning and make and actually meet someone. Same thing here. Stop trying to socialize, stop spending your energy socializing with people online, and find ways to meet people in real life. I mean, it's essentially touch grass. And I know that that's a cliche, but if you spend more time speaking to people online than you do speaking to people in person, then there's something wrong with you. That's not how people are meant to live. That's not how we were designed. And there is something fundamentally broken that you need to fix. I don't want to go too far off topic with this, with the whole what you can do to fix the fact that you don't have friends in real life, so you have to have online friends. Don't want to get too far off that topic because I think that that is a whole other topic. Me single-handedly fixing the male loneliness epidemic, quote unquote. But yeah, just in general, at the end of the day, the fact that it has been made difficult for you is not an excuse for you to just fall into the trap. That is that is absolutely not an excuse. What you have to do is you have to try. You have to get off of whatever online platform it is and talk to people in real life. And if you can't do that, then you need to get help because, like I said, we're social creatures. If you cannot socialize in person, then there is something wrong with you. And you need to fix that. And trying to use online friends as a substitute only serves the elites, and it also only makes things worse for you.